Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Zach. I'm a real estate broker right here in Fort Myers. And today we're going to talk about the 5 things that I absolutely love and 5 things that I could probably do without when it comes to living in Fort Myers in Southwest Florida. So I'm going to talk about 5 topics and the love and hate that I have for each. And at the end, I'm going to mention a couple things that are sort of right down the middle, may cause a discussion or two amongst friends. Number 1. One of the great things about living in Fort Myers is that there's so much to do. We've obviously got a bunch of different beaches, each with different benefits and character. There's water sports, swimming, boating, kayaking, paddleboarding, and there's a bunch of land sports too. If you're the active type, there's tons of golf, tennis, pickleball, and bike paths. If you prefer to watch your sports rather than play them, we have two Major League Baseball spring training facilities here. We have a minor league hockey team and an NCAA sports at Florida Gulf Coast University. We also have a couple of theater companies. They have well-known Broadway shows and a great little downtown area with tons of shops and restaurants. I love that there's so much to do. However, on the flip side, the con to me is there can be a lot of traffic, especially during our busy winter season. Compared to cities like Atlanta or Chicago, it's not that bad. But during the wintertime, there's a lot more people on the roads here, between the locals commuting to work, snowbirds going about their day, and school buses. You can usually plan your route and schedule once you figure things out, but it's still a shock when your commute time can double between summer and winter. But of course, when spring arrives, school gets out, snowbirds head back up north, and the roads open up like the gates of heaven. Number 2, the cost of living is among the lowest in the United States. Of course, just about everything here costs less than larger cities, but I've even done comparisons between Fort Myers and smaller Midwest towns. We're almost always the winner when it comes to the cost of living. I did a video recently, you can check it out, there's a link to it right up here. Check it out to compare some details on the cost of living in Fort Myers. Now for my second con, and it may sound counterintuitive to some of my pros, but hear me out. Fort Myers is a small town, so while there's a lot to do, if you know anyone that grew up here, they probably know everyone else who grew up here too. And while that can be a good thing, it can also be bad. And while we do have things like professional sports, if you want a full season of Major League Baseball, NHL hockey, or the NFL, you need to make the trip up to Tampa Bay or over to Miami. And while we do have theaters and dinner shows, you're not going to exactly find a New York-like array of options, and instead you're going to have to choose between a couple of shows each month. But the good thing about being in a small town is that most of the people here are quite friendly and really easygoing. Number 3, the weather. Florida is the sunshine state. The reason of that is because we have so many sunny days. I was born and raised in Canada. I went to university in Michigan, so I'm all too familiar with cold, dreary, short, miserable days. Sorry, but I am not sorry. And if you spent a winter in the upper Midwest or Northeast, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I remember going weeks at a time without seeing blue sky in the winter. Not to mention you need to bundle up to go outside, shoveling snow, slipping on ice, getting salt stains on your pants. It sucks. So if you want warm weather, year-round sunshine, and never having to dig your car out of a snowbank again, life in Fort Myers could be for you. Now, while I have no desire to live in a cold climate again, our con is that our summers can be brutal. The humidity is insane for a couple of months, and we do get regular, albeit brief rain showers most days in the summer. Next to real estate, I'm a car guy. My must-have option for any vehicle is a remote starter so I can let my car cool off before I get into it. It's a necessity. Number 4, we actually have quite a few walkable and bikeable areas around here. Now, I'm not saying you should ride your bike from Sanibel to downtown Fort Myers unless you have a death wish, but those two places are actually easy to get around without a vehicle once you're there. Sanibel has great bike paths all over the island. You can go to all the restaurants, shops, grocery stores, beaches, and so on without even riding on the road. Downtown Fort Myers is a little gem that a lot of people don't even know about. It's got cobblestone roads, a bunch of restaurants, shops, bars, and festivals happening. You can just park your car and spend the day walking around the River District. And of course, you can live there too. But of course, there's a con, and while we do have some great walkable and bikeable areas, you really need a car to get around. Our public transportation is horrible. To be honest, I've never taken a bus here, so I can't speak to the experience, but the reason I haven't taken a bus here is because it's so much easier for me just to drive. Lee County does have a bus service, but it has very limited routes. If you're used to the great public transportation of larger cities, you're going to be very disappointed with our public transportation. And finally, number 5. One of the great benefits of living in Florida is that we have no state income tax. So depending on where you're coming from, that could be a raise of more than 12%. Georgia income tax tops out at 6%. New York is almost 9%. California's top earners pay close to 13% of their earnings to income tax, while in Florida, we pay 0 state income tax. There's a popular myth that we pay higher property taxes. That's not even close to the truth. You can verify that yourself with a simple Google search. And our sales tax in Fort Myers is 6.5%. That includes both state and county sales tax, which is comparable to many other places. Let me know in the comments section down below how these tax rates compare to where you live. So while we're blessed with the low cost of living, the con here, maybe there's not as many high-paying jobs in this area, although that is getting better. We've always been a tourist hotspot with many hourly hospitality jobs that may ebb and flow with the tourist seasons, but we've been attracting more and more larger companies, highly educated workers, and we have a growing healthcare industry. So that seems to be heading in the right direction and helping to turn that con around. Okay, so let's talk about the middle of the list. These are a couple of things that some people like, some people dislike, I don't know why, but I consider them to be sort of somewhere in between. And since we're talking about the middle, that's a great segue into the location of Fort Myers. Fort Myers is pretty much halfway in between Tampa and Miami, and you can get to either one in about 2 hours. As a matter of fact, the main road that runs through town is called Tamiami Trail, which is a blend of the two names, Tampa and Miami, which is the start and end points of the road. However, now you can take I-75 to either place and it will be much quicker. I like our small town setup, but it's great to have the larger cities close by. Next is the airport. If you live in Atlanta or Chicago or New York and you love the airports because you can get anywhere in a single flight, I've got bad news and I've got good news. The good news is you can still fly to those airports directly in most major hubs in the eastern two-thirds of the United States directly from Southwest Florida International Airport. The bad news about our airport is that it's not a hub for any airlines. So unless you're flying to a major hub, you're likely going to need to connect somewhere to get to wherever you want to go. It's great that the airport is relatively small and convenient and easy to get to, but you do have limited options for direct flights. However, given our great location between Tampa and Miami that I just mentioned, you can also drive to, I think it's 7 different commercial airports within a couple of hours. Tampa, St. Petersburg, Sarasota, Punta Gorda, Fort Myers, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami. 7 airports. They're all fairly close by within a couple of hours. Fort Lauderdale is actually very easy to get to. It's a straight shot across Alligator Alley. You jump on I-75, it spits you out right at the airport. Literally one road from Fort Myers to Fort Lauderdale Airport. Can't miss it. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'm a local real estate broker in Fort Myers in Southwest Florida. I shoot a lot of videos about the area and real estate in general. I would love it if you'd click the subscribe button that's just down below. Click the little bell right next to it so you get notified whenever a new video is uploaded. And I definitely want to encourage you to please leave a comment down below, letting me know your thoughts on your pros and cons of living in Fort Myers. Please be honest, and of course, if you have any questions, ask them down below in the comments as well, and I will respond to everything. Since I'm a local real estate broker here, you may be thinking of relocating here, and that's why you're watching the video. We should definitely connect, as I'd love to answer all your questions in as much detail as possible, or as much detail as you need. You can call me, text me, email me, find me on social media. We can go from there. So until the next video, I'll see you around. So now that you know some pros and cons about living in Fort Myers, check out this video right over here that I did about the cost of living in Fort Myers, including everyone's most common expenses, including gasoline, housing, and of course groceries.